December 9, 1969. A Baltimore assembly plant worker scribbles two phrases on a build sheet: pilot job, and if it had wings, it would fly. What he's building isn't just another Chevelle. It's the car that would make every Hemi owner nervous, and it's about to change everything. But here's what nobody saw coming. This beast almost never existed. For nearly a decade, GM had a self-imposed ban limiting intermediate cars to engines under 400 cubic inches. While Chrysler equipped their Chargers and GTXs with 426 Hemi engines, Chevy Chevelles were stuck with 396 engines, getting blown off the line at every green light. Picture the Chevy engineers in 1969 watching Dodge and Plymouth dominate the streets. They knew the muscle car era was dying. This was their last chance. When GM finally lifted the displacement ban for 1970, Chevy's answer was a 454 cubic inch V8, delivering a barbaric 450 horsepower. But the base 454 wasn't the real story. What they created would produce the highest factory horsepower rating of any production car in history. But first, you had to check one very expensive box. The LS6 option was engineering overkill in the best possible way. It featured an 800 CFM Holley 4-barrel carburetor, 11.25:1 compression, solid lifters, 4-bolt mains, forged steel internals. Every component was built to withstand punishment that would grenade a normal engine. The numbers tell the story: 450 horsepower at 5,600 RPM, 500 pound-feet of torque. No production engine ever had a higher factory horsepower rating. You could mate it to a Muncie M22 Rock Crusher 4-speed with rear gears up to 4.33:1. The base Chevelle cost $2,700. The SS454 package added over $500. The LS6 engine option, another $263. Nearly $4,000 total. That's Corvette money for a family car body. Was it worth it? When the magazines got their hands on these cars, the results were shocking. Hot Rod ran a low time of 13.44 seconds at 108 miles per hour. Carcraft stomped out 13.12 at 107. Motor Trend tested the LS6 against a Plymouth Roadrunner 440 6-pack and Ford Torino Cobra 429. The Chevy was the clear winner, doing 0 to 60 in 6 seconds and running the quarter mile in 13.8, over a half-second better than the others. At 3,800 pounds with 450 horsepower, stepping on the throttle at anything over an idle melted the tires. Sidestepping the clutch at 3,000 revolutions per minute put you back in the seat and had the tail end sliding sideways. At nearly any speed, you could literally incinerate any available street tire. The LS6 created a challenge for tire makers that wasn't answered until years later. It could smoke the tires and embarrass anything on the street. But could it actually handle? Here's where the Chevelle shocked everyone. Hot Rod called it a pleasant and very predictable road and highway car with handling as good as other GM intermediates. Motor Trend noted that the Chevelles, even the big ones, dart like whippets through the tightest turns. It came with power front disc brakes, F41 suspension, and a cowl induction hood with a vacuum-actuated flapper that opened at full throttle. The 1970 Chevelle received a dramatic restyle with a Coke bottle shape and squared-off front end. You could take your wife grocery shopping in the morning, pick the kids up from school, then embarrass a Hemi Cuda at the stoplight on the way home. But what happened next would kill the muscle car era and make the LS6 Chevelle a legend forever. Only 4,475 LS6 engines were manufactured in 1970 for Chevelles. That's only 1% of total production. Around a dozen convertibles and about the same number of El Caminos received the LS6, with about 300 of all body styles surviving today. Emissions legislation, unleaded gasoline mandates, and surging insurance premiums bled the performance out of performance cars beginning in 1971. The LS6 option was dropped before production could continue. Today, an LS6 convertible holds the record for highest Chevelle sale price at $1,242,000. Recent coupes have sold for over $200,000. In 1970, everything aligned. GM lifted the ban. Chevy engineers knew the end was near, so they held nothing back. For one glorious year, Chevrolet built the perfect muscle car. 450 horsepower, 500 pound-feet of torque, 13 second quarter miles. They called it the LS6, and nothing could touch it. This was the king. This was the end. This was the 1970 Chevelle SS 454.